What if I told you that everything you believe about life, your purpose, your value, your future, is based on a story that was never truly yours? From the moment you were born, you were handed a script. Go to school, get a whim, buy things, follow rules, don't ask too many questions. But what if all of this was part of a program? Not a conspiracy, a system. One designed to keep you moving, but never arriving. The ancient sages knew this. They warned us about it. The Hindus called it Maya, the illusion. Plato wrote of prisoners watching shadows, mistaking them for truth. And today, that illusion has only become more advanced, more convincing, because the matrix is no longer wires and screens. It's beliefs, habits, identity. And the scariest part? You might still be living inside it, but if you're here, something in you that has already started to wake up. Let's go deeper. You wake up, and the first thing you do is reach for your phone. You scroll, not out of curiosity, but out of habit. Another day begins, but it feels the same. The same thoughts, the same worries, the same invisible weight in your chest you can't quite explain. It's like living on repeat. Different days, but the same loop. And you've been told this is normal. That feeling tired, anxious, or disconnected is just part of being an adult. But what if it's not? What if this constant repetition isn't your fault, but a design? You see, your mind doesn't chase freedom, it chases familiarity. If you were taught that life is hard, that love is painful, that success is for the lucky, then your subconscious will create those same patterns again and again. Because to the conditioned mind, what's painful is safer than what's unknown. And so the cycle continues. You react to old triggers, repeat old pain, and call it personality. But it's not personality, it's programming. Here's the trap. You start building your identity around your pain. You begin saying, I'm this way because of what happened to me. My anxiety is just who I am. No one ever gave me a chance. And while those feelings are real, the story becomes a cage. Because when you see yourself as a victim, you give your power away. You believe life is happening to you, not through you. And that belief keeps you exactly where you are. This is why the system wins, because as long as people believe they're powerless, they won't change. They won't question. They won't create. They'll just survive. And millions surviving in silence is exactly what the Matrix wants. A society stuck in routines, drained of purpose, disconnected from themselves, always chasing a finish line that keeps moving further away. You think you're progressing, but you're stuck on a wheel. Running, exhausted, going nowhere, and every time you try to stop, something tells you to keep going, that this is just the way life is. But what if that voice isn't even yours? The truth is you've been programmed since the beginning. From childhood, you were told what to believe, what success means, what love should look like, what's possible and what isn't. And without realizing it, you absorb those definitions. You were taught that life is hard, that money requires suffering, that dreams are for the lucky. So your subconscious adjusted, not to what you desire, but to what you were told was true. And that's the loop you live in. You may want something different, but deep down, your programming pulls you back to what's familiar. Because the mind doesn't seek joy, it seeks safety. And what's familiar, even if it's painful, feels safer than the unknown. That's why every time you try to change, you get pulled back to the same habits, same reactions, same limitations. It's not just bad luck. It's not fate. It's the program running in the background. And until you see it, you can't rewrite it. And here's the part they never told you. You can rewrite it. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not the story that's been repeating in your head since you were a child. That story is a script. It was handed to you, but you don't have to keep acting it out. The moment you become aware of the loop, you gain power over it. You begin to see how every "I'm not good enough," every "this always happens to me" was just a belief, not a fact. And beliefs can be changed. You can step outside the victim role. You can stop pointing at the world and start looking within. Because real change doesn't happen by fixing what's outside. It happens by rewiring what's inside. And once you do that, everything outside starts to shift too. This is the real secret the sages have passed down through veiled words and hidden symbols. You are the dreamer in the dream, the builder in the blueprint, the prisoner and the key. They never wanted you to discover this, because the moment you do, you become ungovernable. No longer swayed by fear, no longer controlled by the script, no longer asleep inside someone else's story. But to reclaim that power, you must break the first and deepest illusion, that you are separate from the source of all things. Because you're not. You're not a drop lost in the ocean. You are the entire ocean, crashing through the form of a single drop. And once you feel this, really feel it, the walls of the matrix begin to dissolve. You don't escape it by running. You escape it by remembering who you really are. So what now? Now that the veil has lifted, now that the illusions have cracked, what will you do with this knowing? Because seeing the matrix was never the goal. Leaving it is, but not in some grand rebellion, not by escaping into the forest or renouncing all possessions. No, you leave the matrix by choosing presence over distraction, by choosing truth over comfort, by choosing to live deliberately in a world that teaches you to sleepwalk. You exit the system by no longer needing its validation, by no longer defining yourself by status, approval, or fear. You become unprogrammable, not because the world changed, but because you did. You reclaim your time, your focus, your inner silence. And in that silence, you remember, you were never really trapped. You were simply never taught how free you truly are. And now comes the most important moment of all, integration. Because awakening isn't about collecting insights, it's about embodiment. It's about walking through the world as someone who has remembered what most have forgotten. It means becoming the observer, even in traffic, even in conflict, even in moments of doubt. It means catching your thoughts before they spiral. It means choosing stillness when the world shouts for your attention. It means recognizing that every emotion, every trigger, every experience is a mirror, showing you where you still believe the illusion. You'll fall back asleep sometimes. That's part of it. But now you'll notice. And each time you notice, you wake up a little more. So the question is no longer, is it true?